Who is this actually good for? Who should skip it? And is it worth the price for normal, everyday buyers? If you've ever watched a loved one struggle to get up from a favorite armchair, or you're looking for a little extra support after a long day on your feet, a power lift recliner can feel like a game changer. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first started digging into power lift chairs, the biggest hesitation I saw was the fear of spending a lot of money on a piece of furniture that ends up being more of a novelty than a necessity. The market is flooded with models that promise full napper positions, motorized lifts, and plush upholstery, but many of them either feel too bulky for a typical living room or they don't actually provide the smooth, reliable motion you need when you're already fatigued. The risk, then, is buying a chair that looks good on a spec sheet but turns out to be a clunky obstacle or, worse, a mechanical disappointment that needs service after a few months. The Comforter Series PR531 MED from Golden Technologies lands right in the middle of that debate. It's marketed as a medium-sized lift chair with a 375-pound weight capacity, a hand-stuffed seam back, and a full chaise pad that supposedly cradles your whole body. What matters most, though, is how those claims translate when you actually sit down. First, let's talk about the lift mechanism. The motor is positioned under the seat, and a single press of a button raises you to a standing position. In real life, the movement feels steady rather than jerky, which is a relief for anyone who's sensitive to sudden motions. Think of seniors with arthritis or folks recovering from knee surgery. The chair doesn't thrust you up in a flash. It gently nudges you upright, giving you time to adjust your balance. That gradual lift also means the motor isn't straining itself, which should translate to a longer lifespan and fewer service calls. Now, the recline function. Press another button and the back tilts back while the footrest extends, eventually reaching what the manufacturer calls a full napper pose. For someone who enjoys a brief nap after lunch or wants to stretch out while watching TV, the extended leg support feels genuinely supportive. I tried it with a blanket and a laptop on my lap, and the leg extension was long enough to keep my knees comfortable without feeling like I was hanging off the edge of the chair. The hand-stuffed seam back adds a subtle contour that hugs the lumbar area, which is a nice touch compared to the flat backs you see on many budget lift chairs. Practical strengths become clearer when you picture everyday scenarios. Imagine a grandparent who wants to sit down to read a crossword puzzle without the fear of getting stuck. The lift function lets them lower gently into a seated position, reducing the effort needed from their legs and hips. In a home where the bathroom is a few steps away, the ability to rise without a stumble can be a safety net, especially at night. For caregivers, the chair's smooth operation means less physical strain when assisting someone else. You can help them sit or stand without having to lift their entire weight. On the flip side, there are some trade-offs that matter if you're particular about space or aesthetics. The Comforter's overall footprint is larger than a standard recliner because of the full chaise pad. In a modest living room, you'll need at least a 3-foot clearance behind the chair to let the footrest swing out fully. If you live in a tight apartment, that could feel restrictive. The upholstery is a Sandstorm 10 fabric that leans toward a neutral, earthy tone. While it hides minor stains better than white leather, the color can show dust more quickly, meaning you'll probably have to give it a quick vacuum every week if you wanted to stay looking fresh. Another point to consider is the power source. The chair plugs into a standard outlet, which is convenient, but you do have a cord that runs along the back. For those who prefer a cleaner look, you'll need to manage the cable or use a cord cover. The motor is quiet, yet it does emit a low hum when lifting or reclining. Nothing alarming, but it's something you'll notice if you're trying to sleep with the TV off. What about value for money? The Comforter sits in the mid-range price bracket for power lift chairs. You're not paying for premium leather or a high-end motor with multiple speed settings, but you are getting a reliable lift, a decent lumbar supporting back, and a fully extended leg position. If you compare it to a basic manual lift chair that relies on springs, the motorized lift saves you the effort and potential strain, which is a real cost saving in terms of health and peace of mind. For someone who truly needs that assistance, the price feels justified. However, if you're simply looking for a comfortable recliner without the need to rise without using your legs, a standard recliner would be considerably cheaper and